NASCAR and Elton Sawyer have finally seen the light and will permanently revolutionize the sport. And it all began with one boy marvel. And it might not be the one you're thinking about right now. This may change everything for NASCAR, sending its popularity rising anew. So who is this wonder kid, and how will he impact NASCAR? This is one not to be missed. So today we're talking about Cletus McFarland, and he's not your typical race car driver. He is a YouTube personality, business entrepreneur, and performer who has built a sizable following by undertaking daring vehicle stunts. But this weekend, he was different. He took part in the ARCA Menard Series race at Daytona, which is one of the most unpredictable and wild events in stock car racing. What happened during the race would indicate not only his ability, but also his level of influence in the motorsports industry. The focus was on McFarland from the moment he got into his car. NASCAR set up an in-car camera and live-streamed his racing experience on YouTube. Over 50,000 individuals dialed in at once to view his onboard footage. That is an incredible amount for an ARCA race, a sport that rarely draws this kind of attention. It was proof that social media had changed the game and that introducing fresh characters could greatly boost interest. The race itself was just wild. Daytona is a track where cars race at 180 miles per hour while inches apart, resulting in a high-risk situation. The tiniest miscalculation can lead to a disastrous pileup. That's precisely what happened early in the race, when a 15-car collision eliminated several contenders. The crash altered the entire event, leaving only a few cars unscathed. Butterbean, the eventual race winner, was among those who remained standing. Butterbean's win was one of the weekend's most popular tales. He was driving the number 28 vehicle for Pinnacle Racing Group and avoided trouble during the race. Winning at Daytona, even in the RCA series, is an amazing accomplishment. It is a place where legends are born, and this triumph firmly established Butterbean on the map. He led the final 7 laps and outlasted all competitors to take the checkered flag. What made this even more impressive was the fact that just 4 cars finished the race unharmed. Butterbean's ability to survive the chaos and emerge victorious showcased his genuine driving skill. Butterbean won the race, but McFarland stole the show in a variety of ways. His race was action-packed from start to finish. He began strong, avoiding the large early wreck and working his way through the pack. At one point, he nearly escaped an accident. His reply, which was captured live, became one of the event's most entertaining moments. Fans who watched online loved it, and social media was swamped with videos of the close call. Unfortunately, McFarland's luck ran out when Amber Balkan lost control of her car and collided with him. He had no prospect of escaping the crash and was too severely injured to continue. His race had concluded, but his legacy was far from complete. What happened next could have been the weekend's most memorable moment. Instead of being annoyed or outraged by the situation, McFarland gave one of NASCAR's most entertaining interviews in years. He was still full of energy, humming from the experience, and unable to contain his excitement. He talked about how fast everything happened, how ludicrous it was to race at Daytona, and how much fun he had. It was genuine, authentic, and unlike the phony interviews that NASCAR fans have gotten accustomed to. People adored it. Social media went crazy, with fans, casual watchers, and even people who had never seen a race before sharing footage from the interview. This was just the kind of energy NASCAR has been lacking. There was a time when drivers had strong personalities and weren't afraid to express their actual feelings. Many interviews had grown extremely polished and meticulous with time. McFarland reminded everyone why NASCAR was so exciting in the first place: big personalities, massive situations, and a touch of chaos. Cletus McFarland's latest event with 76 Nissan Altimas illustrates his passion for motorsport. The Altima 600 was held at Freedom Factory, a track he purchased in 2020. The race was open to anyone with a basic Nissan Altima and a helmet. It was wild, fast, and unlike anything we had seen before. The Freedom Factory is a 13-mile asphalt oval with a figure-8 track, making it much smaller than Daytona. Despite the size difference, McFarland said the circuit felt much faster than Daytona. That is a strong claim, given that Daytona International Speedway is one of the world's fastest and most well-known tracks. The Altima 600 was not your ordinary race, with warning flags and safety precautions. There were just 2 options: green for proceed and red for stop. If a car was severely damaged, the race would be delayed in order to remove the driver, but the vehicle would remain on the circuit as a barrier. This made the race far more chaotic. Not only was speed essential, but so was survival. With 76 Altimas on the course, there were many crashes. McFarland was pleased that so many people came to the event. He mentioned how many Altimas were lined up before the race started. The excitement in his voice revealed how much he appreciated the idea of bringing people together for a fun but challenging competition. After winning the Altima 600, he suggested in holding a similar race in the future. This incident occurred shortly after McFarland's first NASCAR ARCA Menard Series race at Daytona. He made his ARCA debut in the season-opening Ride the Dente 200, driving the number 30 Ford for Rhett Jones Racing. His participation in the race, however, did not proceed as planned. He started in 23rd place and crashed twice, on laps 12 and 15. The second crash ended his race, and he finished in 30th place. Despite the setback, McFarland remained optimistic. He described driving at Daytona as exciting, comparing it to riding around Daytona like a bald eagle. He even quipped that his cut-off sleeves might have saved him in the first collision. His combination of humor and passion distinguished him in the racing world. McFarland has set lofty expectations for his racing career. He said on the Dale Jr. Download podcast that he will race again in April at Talladega Superspeedway, another well-known NASCAR track. According to Taylor Kitchen of Racing America, ARCA has experienced some of its strongest audience ratings in over a decade, and many believe McFarland's presence has contributed to this. For years, NASCAR has struggled to attract younger fans. Viewership has been declining, and the sport is seeking for ways to rekindle excitement. McFarland proven that there is still an audience out there, but they prefer something enjoyable to watch. He is not the first foreigner to instill interest in the sport. Travis Pastrana competed in a couple of competitions a few years ago, and fans liked it. Even drivers like Tony Stewart and Dale Earnhardt Jr. had a way of connecting with fans just by being themselves. NASCAR eventually lost it. Many drivers became too cautious with their vocabulary, afraid to say anything that would upset their sponsors. As a result, the show lacked excitement. McFarland demonstrated that having a large personality isn't a bad thing. It is what keeps sports interesting. The ARCA race in Daytona was intriguing for a variety of reasons. The early 15-car incident highlighted how difficult it is to race in a group at high speeds. A single error can set off a chain reaction, as happened here. Later in the race, there were other crashes, with several cars involved in numerous incidents. By the end, almost every car on the course had suffered some form of damage. Elo Castas was among the day's most unlucky drivers. He found himself involved in 4 or 5 different accidents. Every time he got back on track, it looked like he'd crashed again. This shows how unpredictable Daytona can be. It's a survival and speed race. Butterbean's ability to dodge hurdles contributed considerably to his victory. McFarland's appearance on a NASCAR track might not be his last. He stated that he will return to Talladega if his car was repaired on time. If this occurs, supporters will definitely tune in to see what he does next. His first race proved that he belongs, at least as an entertainer, if not as a full-time racer. Elton Sawyer might have picked up on it. So, will NASCAR step in to rescue the boy? Will they capitalize on the present Cletus craze to introduce sport to a new audience? Above all, does he belong on the racetrack? Let me know your opinions in the comments section below.